You are listening to the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, and life-giving relationships. Why focus on relationships? Because the quality of our intimate partnerships and close connections influences our health, happiness, and longevity more than anything else in our lives. Relationships matter a lot, so together, let's jump into the mud, aka our messy relationships, pull some weeds, plant some seeds, and create an enriching environment where strong relationships can take root. I am your grateful host, Dara Posner. I am a recovering relational disaster working toward relational mastery. I am a certified positive psychology coach and relationship mindset coach at Mud Coaching. I work with teens and adults from all over the world, and I am ecstatic to get to talk to you about the one thing that lights my fire more than anything else in life, and that is learning how to create healthy, joyful, life-giving relationships that we all desire to have. So let's dive in. Today on the Embrace the Mud podcast, we are in part 3 of the 4-part series, Dealing with Unmet Needs. In this episode, our topic is taking care of your own and your partner's needs, 2 foundational aspects of getting your own needs met adequately and consistently in your relationship. Be prepared to hear some hard truths, but ones that, if embraced, have the potential to radically shift your relational dynamics and help you find more fulfillment and joy in love. As we have mentioned several times in the series so far, our needs are ultimately our own responsibility. So naturally, being able to meet ourselves where we need to be met emotionally is how we both make sure our needs are fulfilled and how we help others learn how they can help us meet our needs. When we are attentive to our own emotional well-being, we demonstrate to those around us that our emotional needs matter and that we ourselves are focused on making sure they are met. When we do this, people quickly come to expect that we will factor in and prioritize our own needs along with their needs. Often, though, people neglect their own needs. They want others to do for them what they aren't willing to do for themselves. And because they aren't attuned and attentive to themselves, the demand they put on those around them is great and often overwhelming. One of the most important reasons we need to meet as many of our own needs as possible and to have a number of relationships that we can lean on to get our needs met is so that we can avoid expecting too much from one person. Here are just a couple of examples of how we could potentially neglect our own needs. One thing I see happening a lot is needs that are internal get outsourced. So, for example, let's say you were cheated on in a past relationship and now you struggle with a deep sense of insecurity. You might expect your partner to take responsibility for making you feel secure rather than focusing on nurturing your own sense of adequacy and enoughness through working on building your self-esteem and practicing self-compassion. Asking for your partner's support and help with this is absolutely reasonable and encouraged, but making them responsible for how secure you feel inside yourself is not. It's also common for couples to have different needs for togetherness and socialization. For the partner who wants more time in the company of others, it's important that they have friendships and family relationships that they can depend on to get those social needs met. Otherwise, they end up feeling lonely and disconnected and might blame their partner or the relationship for their lack of social fulfillment. The solution here is to own one's own need for a certain amount of social interaction and to nurture various relationships and create opportunities for fulfillment outside of their primary relationship. All the needs that you have, be it for validation, compassion, attention, support, affection, or anything else, are ultimately your own responsibility and are needs that, when possible, you should be meeting for yourself. Because while you have needs in your relationship that make you feel safe, close, and connected to the other person, you need to meet your own needs so that you can have trust and connection within yourself. No other human being can meet your needs in such a way that fulfills an internal sense of security, confidence, and connection for you. And no human person can neglect your needs to a degree that could take that away from you. As long as you are fulfilling your own needs, a person neglecting to fulfill your needs in a relationship will weaken the sense of safety and connection between you and them, but not the sense of security and connection you have inside of yourself. So, to summarize why meeting our own needs is fundamental to getting our relational needs met, Doing so enables us to depend on others for the needs we require for the strength of that relationship and not for the needs we have for relating and connecting to ourselves. And it creates awareness in the relationship that your needs, first of all, exist and are a priority. It sets an important precedent. And to a degree, it teaches those around you how to love you. The other side of this foundational coin is being able to adequately support your partner's emotional needs in the relationship. Because secure functioning relationships are based on fairness and mutuality, we need to be as committed to helping our partners and others that we love meet their needs as we are to fulfilling our own. It's being able to take care of ourselves and the other person at the same time. So often we find ourselves feeling unfulfilled emotionally in our relationships because there's mutual dissatisfaction and frustration. Each partner is waiting for the other to begin, quote unquote, showing up more. Basically, neither is willing to do what they expect the other to do. Each refuses to give until they get. This is called gridlock. And to break out, somebody needs to go first. But often they remain stuck because each partner believes that the other partner isn't doing enough and that they are the one giving more in the relationship. That's right. Often we have no idea that we aren't actually meeting our partner's needs. We think we are because we're doing things we think are thoughtful and loving. But what we are actually doing is giving them love in the ways we want to receive it ourselves. Or we're simply loving them in a way that just, feels better to us. It's just our preference in a way to demonstrate our love. This can leave our partner feeling unfulfilled despite our efforts and attentiveness because we are putting in the wrong kind of effort and giving the wrong kind of attention. As I discussed in part 1, while two people can have the same need, they may enjoy getting that need met in very different ways. One person may love attention in the form of compliments and flirty text messages, while another wants their partner to show a lot of interest in their career and their hobbies. People tend to love the way that they want to be loved, and this is a very common mistake. The fact is, the most effective way to get the best of your partner is to give them the best of yourself. Being the best partner that you can be should be your primary focus in your relationship. I've heard Dr. Terry Real recommend applying the 80-20 rule, placing 80% of your focus on yourself and being a great partner, and putting 20% of your focus on your partner and what you need from them. The best relationships, the ones that have the highest level of emotional and psychological safety, are between two people who mainly focus on being great partners to one another. What does your partner need? What makes them feel connected to you, safe with you, and important to you? How intentional are you about taking care of their specific needs? The best way to find out what your partner needs, if you don't know, is simply to ask what makes them feel secure in the relationship. What makes them feel connected to you? What gives them the sense that they truly matter to you? You can also reflect on what they complain about, what frustrates them, what pushes them away, and what triggers them, as well as what lights them up, draws them closer, and what brings them peace. We have to remember that relationships are two-person systems. Each part or member of the system is always responding and reacting to the other parts. We are always evoking from one another a certain energy, response, or reaction. You may notice that the more you demand from your partner, the more they withhold, or the more you blame or criticize your partner in an attempt to get them to hear you or see you, the more they either bite back or shut down. Always remember the more as a basis for how patterns get activated in the relational system. The more I criticize, the more they get defensive. The more they ignore my needs, the more I push and demand. And then the more they ignore my needs. And on the cycle runs until you hit a wall and realize your partner resides on the other side of it now. To break the pattern, tear down the wall, and find your way back to each other, you need to replace your negative behaviors with ones that bring about a positive response. The more attuned you are to what your partner needs, and the more committed you are to helping them feel safe and loved, the more attuned they likely will be to your needs, and the more consistent they likely will be in helping you fulfill them. Okay, that is all I have for you today. I hope you found this episode helpful and that you feel clear and more committed than ever to prioritizing your own needs and your partner's true needs as well. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, follow, and write a quick review. Your feedback and follows are extremely valuable for the growth of the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, life-giving relationships. Until next time, please remember, you are wired for love and connection. You are capable of love and connection. You are worthy of love and connection.